And so being able to still figure out processes for training and having expectations for our team members, but also recognizing that stepping back from the thing that we do the best, which is the organizing, is okay. And it's actually really amazing. And letting go of some of that perfectionism, still delivering an incredible high value service to clients it's doable and it can be taught. And that really is the mindset shift that helped me to step into more of a CEO role and being excited about making real money in this and recognizing that my talent allowed me to get to this point, even if I'm not spending my days organizing people's homes, which was my original goal.
All right, real talk fam, I'm gonna ask you kind of a sticky question, two sticky questions. One, do you take payment up front from a client? And two, do you have a way to store a form of payment on file? Or are you going into jobs without having that stuff in place and rolling the dice as to whether or not you're gonna get paid? Listen, this happens a lot. It's very common. It pops up as a question or an issue in a lot of the online communities that I frequent. And I want to help you overcome this struggle and avoid it completely. Okay, so let me paint the picture for you. You're getting clients, you're going on the job, you're working really hard, and you're doing such good work. And then at the end of the session, the client goes, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I cannot find my wallet. I have no idea what happened to it. Is it okay if I pay you later?" And then you're kind of like, yeah, I guess. You freeze, you don't know what to say, you leave. And now this business that you started that is supposed to give you flexibility and freedom to help people doing something that you love is now a point of stress. You've gotten yourself into a little bit of a situation, and it can turn into a nightmare, not just for you, but for them. We want to take care of those details ahead of time so everybody can relax and feel good about the process. Clients actually appreciate that you take care of those details ahead of time so that you can just charge the card on file and they don't even have to think about it. Trust me, my clients tell me this all the time. So I want to be able to help you do the same thing so that we can have an elevated professional experience for our clients, because that's what they deserve and that is what you deserve. My goal is to make sure that you are running a successful, scalable, sustainable 6 or 7 figure business in the home industry, the home services industry. And I know a lot of you are aspiring or new professional organizers, and I want to help you out with some suggestions. So that's what today's video is about. I have partnered with Project to Payment to bring you the details on a piece of software that's going to allow you to process payment, schedule invoices, estimates, all the things. So I want you to stick around and let's get into it. What's up, fam, and welcome to I Speak Organized. I'm Melanie Summers. I'm your professional organizer, ADHD organizing specialist, and your go-to gal for all things pro organizing business. I like to speak organized to give you the tools to conquer your clutter, live life with more purpose, and learn all about the business of tidying. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, take out your little device and tap that subscribe button so that you become a member of the Speaker fam. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and tap the notification bell so you're notified whenever we post new content every single week. The best place to get started with the I Speak Organized community and all of the resources that we have available for you is to join my free Facebook group. I'll make sure that that link is listed down in the description of the video below. You're not going to want to miss out on that opportunity to join thousands of other like-minded folks to get all of your most burning questions answered. I'm hanging out in there every single week answering as much as I possibly can, but there's a lot of people in that group that are eager and willing to help you out. So definitely click that link down in the description to join us today.
The main mission here at I Speak Organized is to give you the best quality tools and resources to level up your business and have a truly successful 6 or 7 figure business that doesn't suck away all of your time. So if you're brand new to all of this and it seems very overwhelming, you don't really know where to start, you have come to the right place. I am your go-to gal for all things pro-organizing business. If you're afraid that you aren't enough, like you don't have enough experience or you don't really have the goods to bring to the table to charge what other people charge or whatever story you happen to be telling yourself, I am here to help you understand that you can be exceptional with the right tools and training. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how I can help you with that. But in the meantime, let's get into this juicy interview. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our wonderful guests. They're in two different places coming together. We have Stephanie and Jen here from Reset Solutions, and we're going to be talking all about supporting professional organizers in building efficient businesses. Ladies, please introduce yourselves. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'll let Jen go first.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. Thank you so much. I'm Jen. I live in Utah. I own Reset Your Nest, which is a home organizing business from St. George, if anyone knows Utah. We have a team of 5, and then I have a team of 19 along the Wasatch Front. I've been in business with Reset Your Nest for almost 5.5 years and have just learned so much. We've had a lot of really remarkable growth and met Stephanie a few years ago, and we discovered together that we have a really strong passion for helping other professional organizers increase their profitability, create better processes and systems so they can work more on their business and not in their business. And so it's just been really fun to still spend the majority of my time running my organizing business, but also have a way that we can give back to the community. So that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Stephanie.
Yes, my name's Stephanie Sikora. I am based in Denver, Colorado, and I started my home organizing company in 2017. We have a team of 8. And we do full service moves and traditional organization. And I met Jen at an organizing conference a couple years ago, and we were fortunate enough to be able to merge and have a partnership, which is really important, I think, in entrepreneurship. So really excited for that and grateful she chose me.
Awesome. Yeah. I didn't realize that you guys weren't based in the same area. That makes total sense. Because when I met both of you, we were all together.
Yeah.
We do travel around quite a bit. So just in terms of how you guys came to the consensus for partnering for Reset Solutions, what inspired you to support professional organizers in this way? What did you feel was lacking when you came together to create Reset?
Well, a little bit of our story. So there was a time when Reset Your Nest had big dreams of scaling. And as part of that, our hope was to support the organizing industry by helping other people across the country build a successful company. But at the time, we thought it was going to be really under the umbrella of Reset Your Nest that we would help. We started exploring franchise option and then building up regions. When the franchise option didn't work, we thought we'll have everything in-house with regions. And then I met Stephanie. And for a short period of time in 2023, Reset Your Nest acquired Stephanie's company, Sikora Solutions, because she had an incredible company. She showed up with such a collaborative spirit. And so then we thought, this is the way to grow. A collective of organizers will streamline back-end expenses, and we'll support organizers that way. And we'll acquire companies that are doing good, but could be doing better by combining these resources for back-end expenses. And Stephanie and I together, she brought more than her company. She brought her incredible knowledge and background of processes. And so we tried to support the industry that way. And then our big final pivot was realizing that for a number of reasons, the industry wasn't ready. The business plan wasn't really adding up. And we had learned so much about what organizers needed and the holes that were consistently showing up across organizing businesses, even though we decided to part ways with our businesses and still run our separate businesses. So that's how Reset Solutions Consulting was born. We were talking about how we had learned so much and we still really wanted to give back to the industry, but it wasn't going to be in the way that we had originally planned by building this huge empire. It was going to be more by reaching out on a more individual level and supporting organizers where they had specific needs. So
beautifully said. Yeah, I think that's going to lead me into our next question. I feel like Stephanie can take the wheel on this one since you are kind of the business back-end person. And, the industry is still relatively young, all things considered. And it makes sense that many people in the industry from a business standpoint are sort of more solo operators. Many of our listeners are solo operators or running very lean teams. So what do you think? Let's just dive in. What do you think so many organizers struggle with the back end of inefficiencies, and what often is the first sign that systems are leaking time and money? Is it just lack of knowledge, or what do you find is kind of the common thread?
Yeah, great question. Jen and I get to talk to a lot of organizers. So we learn a lot about their businesses and we hear a lot of themes. And I think one of the things that we all hear is that, we're on site with our clients and then we're working late into the night, like doing back end things. And so really diving into like, well, what are those things that you're doing, behind the scenes that's taking time? And I think we're doers. And so we just kind of dive in and we get it done. And so I think many organizers don't really have the capacity to step back and evaluate, like, what are my processes and why am I doing these steps? And, where can I create, they're not even thinking like, where can I create efficiencies? It's just like, I just got to get it done. I just got to keep my head above water. So really having that space to step back. And that's what we are hoping to provide. And I feel like we have been, is like the opportunity to evaluate, like, what are your processes and, why are you doing all these different steps, and really ask yourself instead of just keep doing them. And then, identifying where there's inefficiencies and where there's waste, and then also offering solutions that we've tested, and like creating that community too, where you get other ideas. So I think it's really, they're spending too much time in the business, not stepping back and evaluating, from the 30,000 foot level to understand where there's opportunities. So we really love to help them figure out what should you be like, that's not even adding value in your business. Like, let's just eliminate that. Let's automate it, or can we delegate to someone? So creating that space for them and offering the solutions.
Love that. Yeah. So running the business like a business was one of the best things that I ever did, was being able to step out of being on site and learn how to create all of those systems. It was such a game changer in so many ways, both in freedom and also in financial means. And it's nice to be able to give people that seed to plant and watch it grow into an actual business. So what mindset shifts do you need, in your opinion, to what needs to happen for an organizer to go from the hustle and chaos to operating efficiently, profitably, and like a business owner?
Yeah. I'll let Jen speak to this one.
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is there are many lessons I've learned from Stephanie through the years, but one of them is done is better than perfect. And that really helped me to let go. We are all such perfectionists. And I know that most organizers, we get into this because of a love of organizing, and we are so good at our craft. And that really is at the core of our brand that we've developed. And we are very protective of these beautiful businesses that we have, that are babies. And so being able to still figure out processes for training and having expectations for our team members, but also recognizing that stepping back from the thing that we do the best, which is the organizing, is okay. And it's actually really amazing. And letting go of some of that perfectionism, still delivering an incredible high value service to clients, it's doable and it can be taught. And that really is the mindset shift that helped me to step into more of a CEO role and being excited about making real money in this, and recognizing that my talent allowed me to get to this point, even if I'm not spending my days organizing people's homes, which was my original goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny that we're doers in the sense of like what we're comfortable with, but then when it comes time to let go of the reins or the control in that certain aspect, we all have this like Enneagram 1 type A personality. You're like, oh, I don't want to release this to the staff or the hounds or whatever you want to say. And it's just interesting making that shift into releasing some of the control actually helps you develop the business in the way that you wanted to in the first place, and help serve your clients oftentimes in a better way. I hire people that are better at organizing than I am on purpose, because it benefits everybody, including them and me. It's a better symbiosis. So let's move on to kind of the next question here, because I want to think from the lens of efficiency. So let's talk time wasting. What are some of the biggest time wasters or workflow gaps that you see when you first audit somebody's back end?
Oh, good question. Because I mean, I love my team's always like, I'm always like diving in. We're like, where can we create more efficiencies? I think there's a lot of, and one thing, this is like operations focused, not really like, I guess, so maybe it's not back end, but I think a lot of people do stuff on site. And so it's always like, what can you do before you're on site to create efficiencies? Like simple things like remove the labels and like have your kits and have those processes dialed in for on site so that you just create more efficiencies on site. It's a better experience for your clients. It's a better experience for your team. So we've really dialed those in our business. When we think about like the back end, I mean, I think just anytime they're doing anything manually, I'm like, there's got to be a way to zap it. Like, how can we zap it? How can we, like, we have an amazing VA we work with, and I had her dialing in just like, how do we create like chat channels or whatever it is? I was like, there's got to be a way to zap it. So I think anytime we see somebody doing something manually, I think another time waster is like planning projects. I'm like, there's ways to streamline that and to automate some of that. So I think that's another one. What are some of the others that we hear, Jen?
I mean, absolutely. So many of the tools that we've created and we actually offer Reset Solutions are in response to efficiencies that we've created, whether it's estimating a job, planning a job, lots of those things. And then even just thinking about the client experience and efficiencies that we've tried to dial in terms of like, how quickly and efficiently are we getting a client from like down and through that funnel from I'm interested, I want to talk to someone, and getting them booked and being in their home and delivering a superior client experience. So does that look like having a scheduler on your website? Are you having pre-qualifying questions on your website? So the first time you get on the call with them, you already know that they understand what pricing looks like, and you're not doing any emails back and forth. We all have different processes, and I know organizers all across the board, but we get on a phone call, a virtual call, as soon as we possibly can with our scheduler. And within minutes of getting off that phone call, we have sent a proposal to our client asking for, before we ever go in the home, before we ever have wasted any time trying to coordinate schedules, get on a call, get a proposal sent. And that for us has made our close rate go high and those overhead costs go down and save time. So just efficiencies there in the client experience has made a big difference.
Yeah. If I can just tag on that, I agree, Jen, that we just did this process with our group where we literally did a process map. And one of the things we were looking at was the inquiry to signing the contract process. And there's so much weight. Like we talk to people, they're like, well, then we send them an email and then we send a proposal and then we hope that they book and and so we've Jen and I built a tool and it takes a little practice, but to be able to estimate to what Jen's saying is be able to give an estimate on the phone. And then you can manage any objections right then and there versus emailing them, praying that they accept it. Then they come back with objections. Then you got to handle it and go back and forth. And it's a lot of time wasted. And to Jen's point, it's it does impact the client experience. So that's one that we've definitely seen. And we've really helped people to it shouldn't be 38 steps to get them to sign the contract. How do we get down to 3? So, and then again, it's you have a higher close rate, higher client satisfaction, and you're saving a lot of time as well. So that's one we've been seeing a lot of.
All right, fam, imagine this. You are sitting here in 6 months, sitting right where you are now, and you're running your own professional organizing business that is effortlessly scaling to 6 figures. How awesome would that be? But let me guess, you're sitting here today and you've got that voice of imposter syndrome whispering in your ear, who am I to do this? Well, let me tell you, I have been there, and it is not only possible to overcome those doubts, it is essential because your future clients are looking for you, not anybody else, you. So how do you scale a 6-figure business? It's easy. You stick with me. I got you. It is my honor to introduce you to my Empowered Organizer membership community, which is a game changer for turning your passion into, if you want, a full-time 6-figure gig. We've got done-for-you scripts and resources, collaborative monthly coaching calls, and a supportive community to fast-track your success by avoiding all the superfluous fluff and, of course, all the dumb mistakes that I've made over the years so that you don't have to make the same ones. You're welcome. Head to melaniesummerscoaching.com/empowered-organizer to learn more and enroll today. And don't worry, it's kind of like your favorite streaming subscription service. You can cancel anytime and renew when you want. And if that weren't convincing enough, let me give you just a little taste of the treasure trove that you'll find when you head to ispeakorganized.com/courses. First, you'll definitely want to check out my overbooked course, packed with golden nuggets to help you get clients and fill your calendar so that you can work full-time as a professional organizer. Or if you need a little personalized guidance, my one-on-one coaching sessions are perfect for getting your your most burning questions answered, helping you move forward confidently. Or how about I save you loads of precious time with my professional organizer forms pack, 9 done for you customizable forms, including a client agreement, so that you can start taking paying clients ASAP. And don't miss my ChatGPT prompt guide with over 750 prompts to optimize tasks like social media captions, blog posts, and more, engineered for success every time. Again, visit ispeakorganized.com/courses to explore all these options and more. Are you ready to take the leap? Visit the link. I know you want to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being able to close the gap, especially at the very beginning when the client is motivated in this industry, when you're working with people who are either disorganized or extremely overwhelmed, especially with time, getting them in that space where they are hungry and ready for it versus giving them time to talk themselves out of it is so crucial. And for us, dialing that in has been immensely important. So I want to continue talking about rescued hours worked. It's funny because I was interviewing the CEO and founder of a company called Any Drawer, which creates custom drawer inserts. They're 3D printed for clients. Absolutely amazing stuff, cutting edge, and you get free access to their design software, which is amazing. And one of the things that he mentioned specifically was there are no labels. And so when you said that earlier, like, oh, spend some time beforehand taking the labels off so you're not doing that on site. You don't even have to do that with this. And I was like, please, Chris, tell me more. So I love sharing those little nuggets. So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about rescuing hours work. That's something that's a phrase that you have coined. And so can you share an example, like your favorite time saving, if you can even pick a favorite time saving system or process that has made a massive impact for one of your clients? Please share.
Oh, so time saving for the client or for our business?
Either one. I mean,
Okay.
we kind of talked a little bit about some back-end stuff, what you can do behind the scenes to make process on site go faster. So maybe if you want to talk about back-end, whatever comes to mind.
Well, I just thought of the one, it's on site, the walkie-talkies. We do not walk around looking for people to ask questions. Like, you radio them, especially in these 10, 20,000 square foot homes, right? You waste a lot of time and it drives me nuts.
That's amazing.
But yes. Gosh, I can think, but for clients, I'm glad you're going to edit this so I can think about it. But, well, I think sometimes for clients, it's just like eliminating. That's the thing. Sometimes is we think because we've been doing it, we have to keep doing it, whether that's on site, it's in the back end, it's in our clients' homes. It's really asking. And like to Jen's point, like with process, like my background's process improvement. So I used to sit in the hospital and watch and observe what's happening and identify where there's bottlenecks and waste. And so I love doing that in clients' homes. And sometimes it's just simply eliminating, not even changing or adding, eliminating will be time saving. And so that's been, anyway, that's why I think sometimes we don't even think about it, but it's why don't you just eliminate this step, or why don't you just remove this thing, or whatever it might be. And that's, a time waster. I think another thing I see with organizers on the back end is they want to send this elaborate list of products to their clients and these big design boards and stuff like that. And I was like, I've been doing this 8 years, and I used to do it in the beginning, and I hardly have anyone, although I'm looking at one right now because I had to show aesthetically something, but I threw 3 baskets on a sheet. I was like, here you go. But I think we overdo it, and we're and this is, I'm going to find 32 of these acrylic bins. And it's they don't need to know that. They don't need, and the more data you give them, more information, the more they're going to pick it apart. So stop giving the information. So I think that's something is really, and the same thing I think with our proposals, it's we're going to have 4 organizers for 3 hours, and they're going to have lunch at 2:00 for 34 minutes. And I'm like, no, stop giving that information, because then they're I don't think you need 4 organizers. I think you only need 2. And I was like, what do you know? You don't know. So I was don't give them the information. And so I think that's something as well, is just present what you need to give them enough information and to deliver, they have a good experience and they trust you and move on. And that's where and I could go on and on, but that's where having a really good sales process, having really good branding, you've solidified, you are the expert and you know what you're doing. You don't need to continue to prove it over and over and over again throughout this process. So those are just a few.
That's so well said. Yeah. Having the ability to streamline is so important. And we've run into that too, where I've had my systems experts come up with these just beautiful systems where they have everything dialed in to the last teeny tiny little drawer insert or what have you. And they send that to the client and say, kind of try to unpack all of that. And the budget for this one space is, $3,000 or something. And people start to freak out. And again, you're absolutely right. They can totally pick it apart. Not necessarily necessary to go into that amount of detail. That's our job. That's what we nerd out about. The clients, we think that they care, but they really don't. They just want it to be done, and they want it to be beautiful, and they want it to be functional and make their lives better. It's about the transformation for them. And so I am so 100% on the same page. So really good stuff so far. Loving this conversation. I know all of our listeners and people watching today are getting tons of value out of it so far. We're not even done yet. So let's talk about, for folks just starting out, or even people who are seasoned pros that are feeling overwhelmed and they're sort of at a point in their business where growth needs to happen or there is a pivot that is occurring. What is the first place that you recommend they look if they want to gain control of the back end of their business?
I'll start real quick. I think just like a client and we're starting in a space, the first thing you do is you pull everything out and you inventory what you have and you look at, like, you start your editing process. And I think it's the same thing. And when Jen and I get on calls, with our, coaching group or individuals, is really like, so tell me about your business. And we map it out and we're like, why are you do this? Well, I don't know, like, because it was a feature in Honeybook, whatever, you know what I mean? And like, so it's real. I think it's the same thing as like, get it all out and really map out what you're doing, because you don't want to grow on like a shaky foundation and you don't want to continue some of those things that aren't working. So, I think it's inventorying, like looking at your process, mapping it out, and really ask yourself at each step and being honest with each step, which is really hard to do as like on your own. And so I think that's when having an objective party, just like when we're working with clients, like, tell me why we have 38 spatulas, you know what I mean? But you're just so used to the 38 spatulas, you don't even question it. So really looking at each step and understanding, is this adding value to me? Is this adding value to the client? Or is this waste? And how can I continue to do what I'm doing without this? And again, is that automating? Is that delegating? Or is it eliminating? So yeah. Jen, anything you would add?
No, I love that. I mean, in another similar parallel, I think, to organizing, it's just so interesting how we don't run our businesses typically the same way that we look at a very unorganized space, but really being able to step back and identify the biggest pain points like we do with clients, and being able to prioritize those pain points and figure out which ones you can eliminate first, and setting really clear boundaries. So as you're fixing things and trying to prioritize things for your business, prioritizing things in your personal life too. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things that are making you feel like you don't want to do this anymore, or it's lost its magic, or it's fun? And whether that's sleep or exercise or family dinner or being there when your kids get home from school, things that don't even have anything to do with your business, being able to plug those in as those foundational pieces, those rocks, and then fill in the rocks for your business that are the most important things that are going to drive revenue and that also fill your soul a little bit, and then figuring out what of the smaller pieces you can delegate. And I am the worst hypocrite in the world, because right now I have 500 rocks and I don't know where, but in theory, I think it's a great place to start.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just, we're all in this together. And when what you experience is often what you teach the best how to fix. And so I think that's okay if there are times when we experience what our fellow comrades and clients are experiencing. I deal with that as well. I think that's normal. And it's, it's funny with those 4 Ds that you're kind of referencing, that do, defer, delegate, and delete. The do pile sometimes definitely gets very big because it's our baby, as you pointed out earlier, Jen. And you want to make sure that everything is running along smoothly, and you want to have your hands and everything. And I think that's very common in general for CEOs. But we know that from the most professional and healthy perspective of a business, when you're able to get your hand out of that and allow the systems to work for themselves and give people autonomy and empowerment to be able to do their part and feel excited about it, is where the true magic happens. And so now I want to, Jen, you started to reference this just a second ago. So I want to start talking about the financial freedom, how we're going to increase take-home profit, because ultimately, one of the most popular topics, shall we say, on my channel is how to have that 6 or 7 figure organizing business. People don't realize that you can be in this industry and have that level of financial success, where the numbers are increasing. So when it comes to increasing take-home profit, where do most organizers go wrong? Do you think it's pricing? Is it time management? Something else? I know it's kind of hard to generalize, but I know you guys see themes
throughout your work with your clients. So what do you think it is?
I definitely think the number one, I think there are a few things. I think generally these personality types that get into this, we love helping others. We want to add value and we want to make money, but we're not like in it for that as much as we are for this sense of purpose and transformation and helping others. And you can totally have both. But for me, I mean, I was there. It's like I wanted to make money, but I also wanted this deeper sense of purpose with what I was doing initially. And it wasn't until I really started to dive in and understand my numbers. And it was the most painful process, and it's ongoing. Having someone who has been able to sit with me now for years and explain things to me and be incredible. She's my fractional CFO. Stephanie works with her as well. She's actually the third part to Reset Solutions Consulting. She has been amazing, and I've taken business classes and have really started to learn the things that are the least fun. But understanding that has helped me to look at like, where is time being spent? How can efficiencies be created? What jobs are the most profitable for me? So what clients should I be spending my time going after? Whatever marketing dollars are spent. I've learned that marketing, I don't believe really in having that much of a marketing budget, but I spend a lot of time doing other things to get my ideal client. A lot of time, all my time almost. So just really, I think that is the fastest way to profitability because we all want to build different businesses. And I hope that any professional organizing business can make money if you understand your finances and can make projections. So.
Yeah, super empowering. Stephanie, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just echo that I'm so happy to hear that we're talking more about you were talking also about mindset shifts. And I think people are starting to really see their business as a business, and a business makes money, and understanding what money are you making or not making. And I think we see a lot of people that are like, wow, that's all I'm making. And it's like, exactly, you know what I mean? And so understanding it first, and then like to Jen's point, figure out what jobs are most profitable and focus your energy on those, not the $500 client, but the $5,000 client, because you're spending probably more energy on the lower one. We all hear that. And I think the other thing we see, if we're getting really specific, we see a lot of organizers, they're not billing for all their time. So we're really encouraging them. The Backend, Jen and I both charge a design and planning fee. So charged for all that time. And we tracked all that time that we spent behind the scenes. And it was like, wow, our CFO made us, because I was like, no, we shouldn't charge that much. She's like, let's see how much time you're spending. And especially if you're paying someone to do that work too. So I think that's where it's like getting them to understand, their numbers, but then also I think really getting them to charge for their time. And so I think that's one gap that we're seeing a lot, and people are starting to do it and they're getting a little pushback. But again, I think it's how you present it. I think it's how way upstream, we should be doing the work way upstream. So when you're presenting the design and planning fee, they're just like, yeah, I'm sold, whatever you want to, So yeah, right. We're excited to see people really starting to turn and shift though, and, know their numbers and charge for their time.
Yes, it doesn't have to. I love this conversation. It doesn't have to be scary. It's empowering to know your numbers and realize that you need to be paying for more than just your daily overhead percentage. Some people are literally only covering that, and there's no room for anything else. I mean, profit is like a far and distant thought at that point, but it's so true. And, and not thinking about all of the things that you have in order to run your business. You wouldn't have to pay for those if you didn't have a business. So we need to factor those things in. It's really important. And I think people get stuck in what Jen was saying, we want to have more of an impact versus the income. So we put a lot of attention and care into the impact portion and not the income, but you kind of need both in order to elevate the impact, right? You need a bigger bucket with your income in order to be able to serve the client the way that they need to be served. And to your point, Stephanie, being able to show the value of that from the very beginning so that it's a no-brainer when it comes time to sign the paperwork. It is easy to do once you see certain truths and you can't unsee them. And so I'm glad that you're out there doing the hard work, helping people. Now, the next question that I have, this is completely selfish. I put this question in here for me. Okay. So I'm really excited to hear the answer to this one, because many pros, including myself, full transparency, get stuck in the cycle of, I'm too busy to fix this. I just don't have time to do all of these things. So what advice do you have for me? I mean, for everyone?
to have someone who knows, this is somebody who knows they need systems, but they feel like they just don't have the time to build them? What is your advice?
Yeah. I mean, Jen and I are in that space sometimes too. We're like, I'm too busy. You know, I have my list of things I need to be doing, whatever. And, you want me to go first, Jen, or?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say so your question, I'm too busy. So I think it's one, identifying like what you should focus on. So like we're all too busy, but it's, I think, understanding what it is you should be focusing on, where there's opportunity in your business. And so that often is with someone else, or just, I mean, we have an amazing community, like talk to another friend that's an organizer, get someone else to, you know, shed some light on your business. And then I think it gets scary sometimes to invest in someone else doing it, whether, you know, it's your website or it's, you know, a VA or whatever it is. But I think if it's that important and it's going to have that much of an impact on your business, to make the investment to, you know, to leverage someone else who has that, you know, expertise to, you know, whatever, build that back end that it needs to be. Cause I catch myself, I'm like, I'll just do it. And I'm like, I just spent 6 hours like updating like a proposal, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I could pay a VA $100 and be done. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that would be my thing, is like have someone help you identify where there's opportunities, and then identify if there's an expert that can help you to take care of it, because you'll be so glad you did.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a few things to add to that. I definitely think scheduling time, even if it's 6 weeks out, creating some margin for processing. You know, you're going to have a meeting with your team. This was my goal for this year, is to create margin before the meeting to prepare for the meeting, but then after to implement anything that was discussed. Because my life is typically, I mean, I'm doing this podcast from my car. I did not create margin in my day for me to get to where I needed to get to the next thing. And so I think that's where those things get brushed under the rug, because they're on our to-do list, but they're not actually on our schedule. And if they're on our schedule, they're not non-negotiables. So committing to ourselves that we're making this a priority, the things that need to happen for our business, even if we're scheduling it, like if you're booked solid for the next 2 months, fine, have it be in 2 months, but make it a non-negotiable, something that you can't do. And then also something that's helped me is I have different people on my team who really are helpful in holding me accountable. So I have someone who's helping me with sales and with outreach, and she follows up with me and she makes sure that I have texted the person I said I needed to text or called that person. And then my project manager is accountable in different ways. So the things that I commit to my team to do, we all hold each other accountable, and that's really helpful. And then one other little side note is interesting, because I think I am absolutely with you, Melanie. I am the queen of, I have no time. I am the busiest human on the planet. No one could possibly be as busy as me. Like, when is this ever going to happen? And I just did, and while that's probably true for all of us, I just finished a 13-week business program. And for 13 weeks, I went to class all day from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and did not do any work that whole time, like no multitasking. And it was hard and it was a sacrifice. But when I look back on it, like, that's crazy. That's 13 times, 9 hours? That's a lot of time that I was somehow able to carve out because it was on my calendar and I made it a priority. So I think it can be done.
That's amazing. That's an entire quarter. That's a whole business quarter. That's like 3 months right there. Where that to me, like, I am both terrified and so proud. And well, I'm three things. I'm terrified of that. I'm proud of you, and I'm inspired.
It wasn't easy. I'm so glad it's over, but I just think it goes to show, like, we choose our priorities. Like, there are always going to be fires to be put out. There's always going to be something. And we really, we choose where we want to spend our time at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes that's another way of letting go of control and seeing how people rise to the occasion, you know, and being pleasantly surprised, because oftentimes we can be, if we're good with hiring. So that's great. Okay. So I'm a tech nerd. I love automation. I love software. I love trying different things. I have tried every CRM that you could possibly imagine, built websites out. I love zapping things as well. I'm a big fan of that. So if you could choose a few of your favorite free or low cost tools that organizers can use to streamline, whether it be admin, scheduling, financial tasks, like just a few that pop to mind.
Okay. We actually just published a blog post about this on our Reset Solutions Consulting, like the apps that we use. Stephanie is way more techie than I am. So I'll just share a few that have changed my world. Because for the first 2 years, I didn't even know what the word CRM meant. And then understanding the concept It took like 6 more months. It was a really slow learning curve. So with the help of people who are much better at it than me, I love using Dubsado, or my company loves using Dubsado, I should say. And we just recently set up ClickUp for project management. And for me, because I'm not a tech nerd, but I see the value in it, I've relied a lot on people who have figured things out. I feel like Stephanie helped figure out how ClickUp could be used as a project management on the cheap. And so then I hired a VA to help me set it up. And then we use Google Chat as our communication tool. And then recently we've started using Company Cam, which is a really great app for when you have a team who's on site. We're able to take photos and share them. So they're not on anyone's phone. They're on the app. We have a Zap created. So the folder's already created for each client. And it's just a great way to take pictures, tag them, and share them. So those are our key apps, I think, that we use.
Cool. What about you, Stephanie?
I love Loom. I love screen sharing and whatever it is. So sending videos with a link versus a file. And what was that? ChatGPT. I am like every day finding new ways to use ChatGPT. But we were sharing with a group yesterday, like I've been using voice memo, which is, default, on the iPhone, and I voice record the consult or any of the conversations, and I throw it in ChatGPT to organize it for me. And then I throw that in the client notes. So that's a new one. I've been testing a lot. Like, I'm kind of like you. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this and captures information. And I've tried all these different ways. And like this one has been working. I've been, for the past week it's been working, but I've had good results. So, but we use ClickUp as well. And Google Chat is our communication channel. So
that is so cool. I'm not as familiar with ClickUp. Can you just briefly explain what you use that for in terms of project management?
Sure. Yeah. So we have it. It's for so when the client signs a contract, it automatically zaps and it creates a file for the client, which has like a standardized checklist. So for every project, this is what we do. So from before, every step before we're on site, while we're on site, and after we're on site. So it just will, and it's just like, I think Asana does the same thing and Trello probably does the same thing. But so ClickUp, it just creates a standardized checklist for that client. And then you can assign people, assign dates, all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah. It sounds similar to what we've used with Trello before. My favorite, you were talking about doing voice memo. I have found this AI voice memo bullet, essentially. It's called Plaud, Plaud, and it's a wearable device, and it's like $200, something like that, not breaking the bank. I use that for all in-home consults now. I don't bring a notebook, nothing. And it just transcribes the entire interaction. And then it will make a voice map for you. It'll summarize everything for you. It cuts out the middleman with all of that. And then of course you have the full transcript if you want to plug it into another language model like ChatGPT. Game changer, absolute game changer. Cause I have high masking ADHD. And so if I'm trying to take notes and work on estimates and whatever else, it ain't happening. And I miss details. Now I don't miss a thing. And it takes I am able to put a proposal together after an in-home in 10 minutes. Just
amazing.
Incredible. And it catches all the little nuances because of the microphone. It has 2 built-in microphones on it. And so you can catch stuff from behind, in front of you. You literally don't miss a thing.
Wow. I'll have to check that out.
Yes, you should. Not affiliated. No shameless plug here. I'm not sponsored. I just really love it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get sponsored, but we haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so some of these questions here we've kind of covered already, so I'm going to skip over this one.
Melanie, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I raised my hand. What do you do for measurements? That's one thing that if you're, you're taking photos and measurements, what have you found to be most helpful with that?
I wish I had something that was more automated. My favorite, it's just a little dinky tool, but I use laser measuring, a laser measuring tool so that I can get it as accurate as possible. And so from the front of the measuring tool, it'll measure from the bottom of it. So you can set it on the floor and it'll laser up to the ceiling. So you get proper height and depth and everything else. And that has sped things up. I'm partnering with AnyDrawer because they're moving into vertical storage systems now as well. So not just the drawer insert. So that was all horizontal. Now they're moving vertical because we've been talking about how difficult that is to find the right bins for certain shelving units and things like that. that allows us to custom design to the like 16th of an inch any bin that you could possibly need for any built-in or Costco rack or, you know, wherever you're buying stuff from. And the design software is free. So I'm really excited for that like 2.0 version to come out, because I think in terms of like space map and design, that's going to be so zippity doo dah fast.
Yeah.
I could see you guys really enjoying using it too.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any thoughts or things that you guys are nerding out with in terms of space design.
Well, I just bought a measuring laser and a laser level.
Yes.
We'll fund it with Waiting next week for like putting labels on. And yes, I've talked with Any Drawer. I think Any Drawer looks really interesting. We have a planning tool we use, but we don't really space map. I feel like space mapping for us is like understanding the dimensions and just doing the math and doing like a simple drawing. So we're not very techie there. Another product that I use and love is called Salt by Sabrina. And they do custom drawer inserts, but it's one piece instead of Any Drawer where they're multiple pieces and they're clear acrylic. And so you have to choose the template ahead of time, which can be challenging because you have to already probably done an edit and planning where things will go, since you can't be puzzling it together the day of the project. But that's a beautiful, really high level product that we like to give our clients. So that's just something that we do.
Amazing. I'm going to make sure all this goes into the description of the video on the podcast show notes, because I'm sure people are like down in there right now watching like, oh, we got to find the thing. That's amazing.
I know. I just texted Jen. I'm like, what laser measure are you using?
I just got on Amazon. I haven't even tried it yet. My kids were playing with it, so I don't even. Yeah.
Nope.
Again, I'm not.
I just want to make sure it works like in the drawers. So yours work in the drawers.
That's the goal. That's the goal. But yeah, many years works in the drawers. Yeah,
ours worked in the drawers because it measures from the bottom of the device. Like I thought for some reason it was going to measure from the top, and I was like, am I going to have to like mess with this? But no, like you stick it in the drawer and it measures from the bottom. So like flush against the drawer top, and just boop, and you get within a 16th of an inch. You can also obviously like change it to a different metric unit of measurement if you want to measure in centimeters or meters or whatever, if you're in the UK. But I got ours on Amazon as well. It was like $15 or something. Total.
So I have a follow-up question. So say you get the measurement from the laser measure and you have your, what is it called again? On your
plod.
Clipped on. Your
plod.
Mm-hmm. You have your plod clipped on. Are you just verbally saying drawer number 1, kitchen drawer, is going to be 16 inches wide and 22 inches deep and 3 inches high? And then it's just, okay.
You bet
so
your buttons.
say it out loud.
Yes. And in fact,
Cool.
at 3:00 this afternoon, we're going to a new home build and we're going to space design everything. So I'm going to bring my project manager and our little blue painter's tape, and we're going to just like design the whole thing. And I will use that device and my little laser measurer and do exactly what you just said.
And just talk through every measurement.
Yes. Yeah. And then write on the tape, like, this is drawer number 1. So because I'm not on site when the systemization actually occurs, but I do like to do the design part. And so my team will have that full summary of like everything that goes where with the measurements, because the plod will do all that for me. And it's already all temporarily labeled and ready to go when they get there next week with product.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
I just see, like, look at the nerdiness that's going on.
I love it. All day long.
So happy about it. I want to wrap up with, because you guys bring such a depth of experience and passion to your work. And I really appreciate you guys carving out the time in your car and all the things, that you've got going on. I would love to know, and this is a question that I ask most of my guests, what is your best advice for the organizer who's just on the brink of burnout and needs to rebuild from a smarter place?
Yeah, I'll let Jen and I just were having this conversation with someone in our group, and I thought Jen had some really great words, so I'll let her.
Yeah, I need to remember what I said. It was
really good.
I think the biggest thing is coming back to what are your pain points and what are your non-negotiables, and what are the things, what will identifying what would help you to find joy in it again. I know owning a business is so hard. We know that it's a roller coaster and there are so many factors that come into deciding to continue on, which I hope all organizers do. But if you could identify what thing would impact you wanting to push through and what things need to change in order for you to find that joy again or find that peace with what you're doing. And the individual we were talking to, it was really people managing people and other people maybe not showing up as respectful players, team members, definitely like a culture issue. And that just broke my heart, because I would hope that if anyone is feeling discouraged and feeling like maybe it's not the time to continue on with their organizing business, that it's a decision that comes not from burnout, but from peace, and feeling like, sometimes seasons change and that's one thing, but feeling like your decision is being impacted by other people and not knowing how to manage other people, or just having bad energy. I'm really not doing as good of a job as we did with our coaching member the other day, but that's what would make me sad. So I think really identifying what would make you stay. I'll share this really quickly. We've all had those moments. And I had one of those moments a few years ago when we realized that all the things we had been running at to grow Reset Your Nest really big weren't going to work. And we were going to go back. Stephanie was going to go back to having her Sikora solutions in Colorado. I was going to go back to having Reset Your Nest in Utah. Everything else that we had going on outside of those states was going to dissolve. And I didn't know if I was going to have a business. I didn't know if I even wanted to have a business, but I was able to stand back and identify the things that I needed to have in place in order to want to continue on. And one was, I didn't want to have inventory in my house. I had it in my garage for years and it was horrendous. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't have packages being delivered at all hours. I couldn't have my kids tripping over boxes, any of it. So I was like, okay, my non-negotiable is I do not have product in my home. My other non-negotiable is I need to be able to keep my project manager on salary, because she's a unicorn and she took such a huge load off of me back end, and I was so lucky to have her, but it's also really expensive to have someone on salary. And so I identified my non-negotiables, what would make me want to stay. And then again, those personal non-negotiables, I need to be able to exercise. I need to be able to go to yoga because that's my therapy. I need to be able to do these things. And if I can prioritize those things and then maybe and make money too.
Her phone
so good. It was so good.
She could prioritize them, then she will keep going.
Yes.
There she goes. Yeah. Yes.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, if I can create space for those non-negotiables and make a profit at the end of the year. So last year was really a trial year for me. I didn't know if I could do it or not, but I did it and I'm here. So I think those are just some of the things I've done when I've hit that burnout on that wall, really stepping back and trying to identify what needs to change in order for me to want to stay.
That's so powerful. Like, just hearing it from your personal perspective, I think is really going to resonate with people. Stephanie, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Jen, is really identifying like what's at the root of the burnout and understanding like, are those things that can change, because I had like a really, like last year was a very big year for all of us, lots of change, and lots of change causes turnover in your company. And I had 3 people leave in 1 month and there were 3 key players. It was a really, really hard time. And, I just remember being like, I said to Ashley, I said, I'm going to give it till December, and to see if I'm going to keep doing this. And so I think there's that piece, like that subjective emotional piece, and just, because I take it personally because it's my business. It's our baby. We all do. And so, but I think also if you can identify some of those, the theme of like Backend and your processes, like if those are some of the things that are burning you out, like there are ways to mitigate that and to streamline it. Because if we have a solid foundation, like really building that solid foundation of Backend processes gives you more capacity to deal with those things. The people piece, which is not, you can't just put that in a little box, right? And that takes a little bit more from us. So I think it's, identifying, are there things that can be, automated or fixed or whatever? I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but if we can create that foundation where those things run smoothly, it just creates the capacity for those urgent things, or when your team, someone's sick or whatever it is, or they're on leave or whatever it might be. So it's identify it first. And if it can't be fixed, you know what I mean? Like if you can't find solution for it, and but before you make those decisions, just really be thoughtful about it, because it's hard for sure. We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah. And, and a lot of us listening and watching are there right now. There's all kinds of things that happen. Yeah. So I think bottom line is it's good to have this conversation and know that you're not alone. I think obviously having community and support and people that know what you're going through is really essential. And so that kind of brings me to our wrap up here. I want to make sure that everybody, the audience, can connect with you and take that next step towards getting everything under control and knowing that you're not alone, finding your tribe, all these really important things. So for those that are listening and watching and this conversation has resonated with you, you love Jen and Stephanie, Where can we get in touch? Give us all the information. Go.
Okay. We have an Instagram account called Pro Organizer Consulting. A lot of people know us through our businesses, but for me, I'm much more responsive on DMs on Pro Organizer Consulting because I know that's where my organizer friends hang out. And so that's where an easier way to respond because I have someone who helps me with the other account. So that's our Instagram account, Pro Organizer Consulting. And then we have a website, resetsolutionsconsulting.com. And we have a group coaching program with, we're actually relaunching it this next month and we're really excited. We just keep listening. Really at the core of Reset Solutions Consulting, it's listening to organizers, what's needed in our industry and how we can help fill gaps. And so that's what our group coaching program really strives to do. And we have lots of tools. Those are all available on our website. We have a blog. We also have a newsletter where we share our latest blog posts. We send that out once a month. So lots of ways that we can stay connected through community.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we have several tools. I know a lot of people have community in the organization industry already, which I think is amazing and very unique to our industry, which I'm very proud of. And we also have a whole library of tools, which Jen has built some amazing, amazing tools. So talk about time savers. We have like lookbooks. We have, we have estimator tools, like all these things that we spend hours on in the back end. Like people buy our lookbook and they're like, you just saved me like 20 hours, And so we're like, what are the tools that we use in our business and how do we turn them into templates so people can use them so they can save time and just like keep moving in your business. Don't waste your time, on Canva for 8 hours, whatever, So we have a ton of tools. I mean, speaking from experience, but we have a ton of tools on there that really help, build those foundational pieces in your businesses and create those efficiencies. So those are also available on our website.
That's huge. That's so huge. All of this information for those of you listening and watching will be down in the description of the video on the podcast show notes. I have one final question. It's my fun one because I love the interview process. I'm definitely like a little inquisitive journalistic lady. And so I like to do my little cap nod to James Lipton. So this is a really weird question. Sometimes these questions catch people off guard and they're like, I don't know how to answer it. So just do the best you can.
Okay.
If your organizing business were a room, what would it look like? And what would be the one object in the room that represents your mission?
Do I have time to chat GPT that?
You can if you want to.
Oh, what would it be? Oh gosh. What room?
Yeah. What, if your organizing business were a room?
Yep.
What would it look like? And what would be the one object in the room that represents your business or your mission or, something that's like a core value to you?
Okay, I have one.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Okay, so if my business were a room, it would be a pantry and it would be the prettiest pantry you've ever seen. Because I know lots of us are very aesthetic, but for me, that's really at the core of what I always wanted to create was something that's very aesthetic. And it's been a journey to get my back end and my business looking and feeling as beautiful as the pantries that I've really created since day one, since before Reset Your Nest even existed. And if it was an object in the pantry, I would say it would be the snack bin with those, those dried apples and coconut and bananas chips. It's like fruit chips. Like they're super healthy, but they're super delicious, but also they're super beautiful. So if you're staging a pantry, they're like the black bags.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be the object in the pantry in a cute basket that would represent like my mission, like just trying to look good, but also be functional and add value and
be healthy.
And be healthy. Yes.
Healthy. Yes. Because being organized is a form of self-care. It's a very healthy thing that no one regrets. Love it. Do you have an idea, Stephanie?
I think mine would probably be the kitchen because I love like systems and like I think it's so like so strategic how you set up a kitchen for flow. And I always compare it to like the OR when I used to have to like create processes in the OR. And I say it's the same thing in the kitchen. Like you don't want to take 20 steps. Like you don't want the surgeon taking 20 steps. I said there's knives, some blood sometimes. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to keep people alive, right? So it'd probably be the kitchen. And it would probably be a 20-inch acrylic bin because it fully maximizes and like optimizes the space in those lower cabinets. So there'd be no waste. So that would probably be, but they're so hard to get right now. So that's probably not.
I was just going to say,
can't even get them.
Know how to get a hold of one?
Someone has to create this. Like, you can't even get one.
I feel like any drawer is working on it. We were actually talking about the supply chain issues that are coming down the pipeline and how it's really going to affect some of our favorite stores and purveyors of organizing products, and like, how are we going to get the things when their business model is literally getting things from overseas and reselling them in their store? Like, what are we going to do? So yeah, it's a hard one. I think my space would be the garage. And I think that the overhead storage racks that descend to the floor would be the thing, because it's a storage space that is often overlooked. It's also very visual. I am an ADHD organizing specialist, so everything needs to be visual without being visually overstimulating. And that particular organizing apparatus definitely has the best of both worlds, where it can be visual when you need it to be, but it can also be above board to like get it out of the way. And it utilizes the space in a very unique sort of outside the box way. And that's the ADHD way of organizing things. And that just like lights me up. Like that, just like, all the bells and all the lights are just going off.
Checks all the boxes. I love it.
That's right. Ladies, it has been such a pleasure. I'm sure we could sit here and do this all day long, but as we have expressed, we're all busy going stuff. Things are happening. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming on the show today. I know everybody's going to get tons of value. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. This was so fun to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for having us, Melanie.
So if you want to connect more with her, make sure that you head down to the description of the video and the podcast show notes. All of her information and her resources are there for you. So definitely take advantage of it, as she pointed out. And don't forget to connect with me for that one-on-one coaching call and take my Overlooked to Overbooked course. Listen, you guys, 40% of people in a survey that I just posted said that they struggle with getting clients, and that is exactly what Overbooked solves for you. So if you have any hesitation, you can always reach out to me to learn a little bit more about it. It's definitely a game changer for those who take it. You can check out my Pro Organizer Forms Pack. Just remember to head to ispeakorganized.com/courses. You can see all of the different course material, one-on-one coaching, and resources that I have available for you to really, truly help you make a go of this thing and do your business right, because I want you to succeed. Your success is my success. As always, make sure that you are in that Facebook group so you can get those questions answered and be part of a thriving and growing community. And beyond that, hopefully at this point you're subscribed. If you're not, hit that subscribe button. And then I just hope you have an awesome day. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.